Hi, and welcome back to the studio for another beginner sketchbook prompt tutorial. So today I'm going to give you a lesson on the perspective of ellipses, but I'm going to break it up into two parts. Part one, we will review linear perspective. This will not be a comprehensive perspective lesson. This is just a review. So it's great for if you have learned linear perspective, 1.2 point, it'll jog your memory, it'll be great. If you've never learned it, then it's just going to serve as a bit of an overview where you can start understanding the idea behind how we draw things that are three-dimensional, how we put those on a two-dimensional plane, the drawing surface, and make those look realistic. So if you do not want this overview, you can skip to part two where we actually dive into drawing the cylinders and ellipses. Otherwise, I think it still would be helpful. You can always watch this on like double the speed. Watch it on 1.25 or 1.5. Let's get started. So we are going to work on the perspective of ellipses. We're going to just use our pencils today. This is the regular pencil set that I showed in the very beginning of the series. I've got a 2B, 4B, 6B. Really not important today for this lesson. You just need any pencil. To start, you're getting your mini review on 1-point and 2-point perspective. This is also called linear perspective. Linear perspective is essential to your drawing ability at some point. I'm not saying it is absolutely critical at this juncture, but I think you would benefit from a tiny review. So linear perspective is basically understanding that parallel lines, so let's say a railroad track, appear to get closer together as they go farther into space. So if this is your horizon and this is your railroad track, as it goes off into space, the parallel lines appear to get closer together. So it does rely on parallel lines. So when we talk about a box or a building, we know that those are parallel for the most part. Think about a cereal box. We know that the sides of this are parallel. We know that the top and the bottom are parallel of any box. And what that does is it gives us the opportunity to make those lines converge on the horizon. They go towards a single point on the horizon. And it makes it appear as if it's going farther back when we just make the lines go closer together. When you're dealing with something up close, let me just say this. When you're dealing with something up close, like a stack of books, something in your still life right in front of you, you might not notice these lines getting closer together as they go farther away. Let me re-articulate this part. Parallel lines that converge on a single point on the horizon. This is how linear perspective is basically organized. Got my hard drive here. When it is so close to me and I'm drawing it, we don't need to have the lines going further back in space. So let me draw it really quickly for you here. I'm making all these lines perfectly parallel. Do you see how this line is parallel to this one? This line is parallel to this one. And then this, I start making the sides. All of these three are parallel, boom, boom, boom. Then I make another parallel line to this one and another parallel line to this one. And let's even add in the little stripe there. Simple, right? No actual linear perspective. Nothing's receding to any point on the horizon. It is so close to me that we can just fudge it by making everything parallel. But if it's on a large scale or it's further away, or you just want to enhance the drama, you're going to want to know how to make this appear more three-dimensional. Let's do the same exact hard drive, but this time we're going to slightly make those lines get closer together. So we're kind of fudging it, right? I'm not actually using a line on the horizon, I'm literally just slanting these towards each other so that this line's shorter than this one. Okay, same exact idea. You could do perfectly parallel lines, right? But if we want to enhance it, then take the side that's closest to you. In this case, we did the front, right? And then it gets farther away. And if we're going top to bottom, this one's closer to us. So we're gonna slant these in. And this is how we're fudging perspective. We're kind of like exaggerating it. And on the sides, these lines right here, this is bigger than this one. See how we're slanting it in? So it's getting slightly smaller back there. Let's exaggerate, and we'll make this line shorter than this one. And look at that, boom. It looks more three-dimensional. It appears to be going back in space. That's not always the realistic viewpoint. When we look at this, we don't think, oh, that's a realistic box, you know? Our mind accepts all sorts of this kind of drawing, but this is far more exaggerated. And this is simply, so this is simple. Let's call it simply parallel, AKA fudged, right? And then this is exaggerated. I don't even know, it's also fudged. Because, and I say fudged because we didn't actually find the horizon and make all of these lines go off to the horizon. By the way, side note, this is not 1-point perspective. This is 2-point perspective. This is 1. That's a whole nother lesson, and I will give it to you. Absolutely, absolutely. Comment, hi, please teach us perspective, and I will go well into it because I am so excited about perspective. I love it. Back to the review. Perspective review, let's call this. Like labeling things. Also, later, when I look through my sketchbook, I'll remember what the heck I was doing with these random drawings. So this is 1 point, because there's 1 point on the horizon and everything is going to that point. So if I drew another like box or something over here, another building or something, all of the, these are called transversal lines. And by the way, you should use a ruler for perspective. But anything you draw in this space, as long as you're looking at the face of it, think of this as a building facade. As long as you're looking at the face of it, you can put it into 1 point perspective. As soon as you're looking at the corner, as soon as these lines are not parallel to you, like the corners and edges of the page, see how this is parallel to the edge of my page? And this and this and this and this, they're all parallel to the edges of my page. But as soon as they're not, like, let's do it right here. As soon as the face is on an angle here, you have to use 2 point perspective because you're looking at the corner of something. And there is a way to fudge this as well. Like I just showed you, we fudged that one, right? And basically you just get better at it, knowing that you're going to have these lines converge to a point on the horizon over there, and these lines are going to converge on a point on the horizon over here, and all of them go that direction, right? So let's actually, if this was actually it, it'd be much more severe lines right down here. So 2 point can get really dramatic really quickly. This is fudged, right? Because I didn't draw my horizon out, blah, blah, blah. And it's something that I promise you, if you learn how to do it properly, then you can go on to just kind of approximate like I did with this one. I don't know where those points are. I don't have a horizon defined, but I've drawn enough boxes in space that I can just make it up. And that's where I hope you'll get to eventually. So recap, 1 point, everything's parallel. These are all parallel to the sides of our page. We're looking right at the face. So everything can go to that 1 point. And then 2 point is when we're looking at the corner, right? The thing right close in front of us, the thing closest to us is the corner instead of the face. I can't say that this corner or this corner is closest to me. They're equal distance away from me. But this corner and this corner, that is obvious, right? So 2 point is when we're looking at a corner. 1 point is when we're looking at the face of something. Let's take this recap just a little further. If we're talking about a box in space, let's pretend we were looking straight at the box. Like it's right at our eye level. Here's our eye level. Then we won't see the top, we won't see the bottom. We might see the side. Maybe it's like this, so we can see this side, but we cannot see the top or bottom. This is the horizon. Horizon, AKA eye level. Now, as soon as we move this box above the horizon, we can suddenly see the bottom of it, okay? We still see the side because it's over here. And we see the bottom because it's above us. And if you're curious, why do we see the side? Well, it's dependent on where this point is. So if you don't want to see the side, that's fine. We'll move the box centered here. So now we can't see the side anymore. I hope this isn't like too many things all at once for you, but because I moved the box over, it's lined up here. You cannot see the side, but we can see the top because the box has moved down below the horizon. And it would be the same thing if we kept it over here to the side. We would still see the top. This is really messy, but I'm just trying to give you the idea really quick that you can see the top because the box is lower on the horizon. Let's jump into what a cylinder will look like if it's at eye level. It would be like this. It would be curved here and it would be curved here. Okay, yay. Cylinder. The slight curve here and here are the only indications that this is a round thing. If I had made those flat, then it would appear to be a box. But these are curved, so we read it as a cylinder. If this top of the cylinder is right at eye level, it's going to look like that. No joke. It will be flat and it will look like it could be a box. The only indication it is a cylinder is that the bottom will be curved. And the same thing happens if it's higher. Okay, so if this is the bottom of the cylinder, it's right at our eye level, it's going to appear flat. But as it gets above the horizon, it'll appear curved. That curve, the angle of the curve matters. If it's higher up, if it's higher than the horizon, it's going to be like a frown face. And if it's lower than the horizon, it's going to look like a smiley face curve. And right here, it's straight. I love that. Okay. I want to be sure you know that that was not an in-depth lesson on perspective. That was for people who already understand perspective and need a review. And if you've learned perspective, that will jog your memory, you'll be set. Or it's for you if you've never learned perspective, but you just want a vague overview to get what we're talking about when we say perspective. And hopefully that is enough to just get you started thinking about it and get you understanding the next step. Because I promise the perspective of ellipses and the concept of drawing anything cylindrical is way simpler than linear perspective. It's just based on the same principle, so I had to give you that overview. I had to give you that little reminder and review of linear perspective because one sort of defines the other. I hope I'm making sense. So this lesson got a little off track. It's a bit long, so I'm going to cut it into two, and I'm going to make part one this perspective review, and part two will be now how do we apply this to cylindrical form. And those of you who don't want the review on perspective can just jump to this video. Yay.